with a gentle persuasion tells me I've nothing to fear.
In the midst of spiritual battles, we can often feel besieged on every side, but hold the fort. Renew your strength in the Lord, for the victory is already won. We just need to continue fighting because He's coming. If you could sum it up in one phrase, it would be, hold on. That sounds simplistic, but it's the truth. That's what the Lord's been saying for thousands of years. Take the Apostle Paul, for example, who really had to hold on through a lot. Talk about ups and downs, dear Paul really went through it. From being looked upon with skepticism by his own brethren, to being booted out of cities where he tried to witness, persecuted, whipped, jailed, physically afflicted, nearly stoned to death. You can read about it in 2 Corinthians 11, verses 23 through 28. But maybe you don't feel like this relates to you much, since that was 2,000 years ago. But just like you, there were times when Paul, as great a man of God as he was pretty discouraged and felt like giving up. On one occasion he wrote, "For we would not, brethren, have you ignorant of our trouble which came to us in Asia, that we were pressed out of measure, above strength, insomuch that we despaired even of life." That's 2 Corinthians 1, verse 8. Can you relate to that? But here's the important part. Despite Paul's trials and tribulations, both in the form of outward persecution and in the form of inward despair, discouragement, and doubt, he held on, declaring that none of these things move me. Neither count I my life dear unto myself, so that I might finish my course with joy, and the ministry which I have received of the Lord Jesus, to testify the gospel of the grace of God. Acts 20:24. Now that's a good one for us to remember. None of these things move me. In other words, I'm going to keep holding on no matter what happens. I'm not going to let it deter me from the high calling that the Lord has given me. That's the kind of determination that kept Paul going, so that even though he was perplexed, he was not in despair. 2 Corinthians 4:8. Be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. 1 Corinthians 15:58. How can you be unmovable? By holding on to the rock, Jesus. See Psalm 62:6. Everything else is unstable and can get washed away when the waves of life toss you to and fro. The only thing that'll stay right there and won't budge an inch is Jesus. So if you want to remain steadfast and unmovable, there's only one way. Hold on to the Lord. And if you do, as the scriptures promise, your labors will not be in vain. Hold on to your crown. This message has been brought to you courtesy of Helping Hand.
Soft as the voice of an angel, whispering Jesus is near. Hope with a gentle persuasion tells me I've nothing